I'm Kira and welcome to or back to the Yoga Corner. Today I have another one of my 10 minutes or less yoga classes, and today we're going to be focusing on the wrists. The wrists are one of the most fundamental parts of our yoga practice. We bear a lot of weight through the wrists in downward dogs, in planks, in our tabletops, and in other more advanced poses like crow poses, handstands, headstands, and all of that kind of stuff. So the wrists really do take quite the brunt of our yoga practice, and yoga for many of us is actually the only time that we've really borne all of that weight through the wrists, because in everyday life the feet do all of the work and the hands don't really have to do too much. So when you're new to yoga, or whether you're doing a lot of yoga, you might find that your wrists feel just a little bit tight, a little bit sore, and a little bit unused to being used so often. So today we have a yoga practice completely dedicated to the wrists, helping them to build strength, make sure that they're nicely stretched out, and hopefully feeling better and stronger for our yoga practices going forward. So we're going to get started in a seated position, and we're simply going to do what I call headlight hands. So we're just going to literally spread our fingers and just flick the fingers out. You might find that doing this fast for quite a few minutes or a few seconds even will make the hands feel really tight, but it is a lovely way to just warm up those hands. So we'll do this together for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then just give the wrists a really nice shake out. Really release that tension. Nice. And then we're going to bring the hands together into a fist shape, and we're just going to start to move the fists in a little figure of 8 motion. Start to create a little bit of more mobility into those wrists, moving in one direction for a few moments and then challenging your coordination. Mine is completely terrible, and trying to move in the opposite direction. You'll feel a little bit funky when you try to move around in the opposite direction, but just create that mobility for the wrists. Maybe do a little Mexican wave or reverse that. We're doing quite a few funky shapes with the wrists in this practice. And then slow it down. We're going to send the right forearm out ahead of us. You want the palm facing up. And then you're gently going to reach round with the left hand and guide those right fingertips down to the ground. You should feel a nice stretch all the way down that right forearm and in the inner right wrist as well. We're going to hold it here for 10 breaths. That might seem like a little while, but this is a really nice, gentle, static stretch, which means that we're not doing too much to the wrist, but we're just gradually allowing it to wake up. If by the time we've done 5 breaths, so we're already about 3 breaths in, this wrist feels a little bit tight, then please feel free to release it. We've got about 5 more breaths now together. 2 more breaths in. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale completely. 1 more big deep breath in, and exhale. This time we release that hand. You might want to give it a little wiggle out, and then whenever you're ready, we're going to move on to the other side. So the left hand is going to reach out, palm facing up, and then you're going to reach over with the right fingertips and guide those left fingers down towards the ground. Feeling that stretch and staying there for as many breaths as feels good to you. I'll be here for 10, but please feel free to dip in and out as your body needs. Taking a big deep breath in and a big exhale. Using that breath to guide you through any unpleasant sensations, and just trying to notice the difference between potentially just like a stretch that's awakening part of your body that you don't often use, and pain. When you're feeling pain, definitely move out of a posture immediately. Whereas if you're feeling just a sensation of opening, then see whether you can sit with it now for the final 3 breaths here. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out. Inhaling in. Exhaling to release. 1 more deep breath in. Exhale completely. And release that wrist, give it a little shake out. Whenever you're ready, we're going to move over into our tabletop position. So that's our hands and knees. You want your hands directly underneath the shoulders, your knees underneath the hips, and spread the fingers out nice and wide. We're going to take a few stretches for the wrists right here. So we're gently just going to leave the hands exactly as they are with the fingertips facing forward. And I want you to just start moving the body in circles so you shift your weight round the wrist. Moving forwards to the side, back and round. You can make these movements really minute, keeping it really tight on the wrist, or if it feels comfortable, you might make them slightly larger. You can move as quickly or as slowly as your body needs. You're just easing into your wrists here, so each of us will feel different in this posture, and that's completely fine. You just want to work with your body exactly as it feels right now. And now we've moved in one direction for a few moments, return the opposite way. Start moving in the other direction so that we're easing into those wrists in every way we can. Really nice. Take one more breath there for movement. And then slow it down. You might sit back on the heels and just gently shake the hands out. And then we're returning back to our tabletop. Now, if you want to stick with that little circle motion that we just took, please feel free to do so. Next option though, is that you're going to turn your hands out to the sides. So imagining your yoga mat as a clock, you're going to be turning to 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So your fingers are facing out to the sides. And this time, instead of moving in circles, you're going to rock from left to right. That will feel like a bit more of a stretch for the inner wrist as well. So you're either moving in circles, just as we were before, with the fingers facing forwards, or you're shifting from left to right with the fingers facing out to the sides. Really nice. Allow yourself just to ease into this, making these movements as fast or slow as your body needs. Just tuning in, creating space. One more to each side. And then we slow it down, come back, sit on the heels, give those wrists a little shake out again. Nice work. And then final time, we're coming back to our tabletop. So you've got 3 options now. Your hands can either be facing forwards and you make circles, moving a few times in one direction, a few times in the other. Your hands can face out to the sides and you rock gently from left to right, or you walk your hands back towards your body. So your fingertips are now facing you. And in this posture, we've got enough of an intense stretch just by twisting the hands that we don't need to move at all. We just sit there in this position. So take whatever feels best to you. You also don't need to have your hands completely facing you. If this feels like a bit of an unusual stretch, then your hands might not make it all the way, but that's completely fine. Just take whatever feels best to you. Wherever you are, we're going to stay for 5 breaths. Inhaling together through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. 3 more times. Inhaling together, exhaling completely. Inhaling, big exhale. 1 more time. Big deep breath in. Completely exhale, and if you've got the fingertips facing your body, just walk them around really gently, being careful with those hands, and just gently give those hands a little shake out. We've got 1 more stretch that we're going to do together, and that's going to be in our downward facing dog. So we're going to place the hands on the mat, spread the fingers nice and wide, tuck the toes and peel the hips up to the sky, downward facing dog. Now your legs don't need to be straight in downward dog, your heels don't need to touch the ground. What I do want to see is your chest melting towards the thighs. So I want you to be actively pushing the chest in towards those legs. Now what we're going to be doing here is we often see a 3-legged down dog by lifting one of the feet away from the ground, but today we're going to be taking a twisted downward dog, lifting one of the hands away from the ground. So your left hand is going to lift away from the ground and it's going to touch the outside of the right calf or ankle. So that means that you're going to have to push more weight through the right hand, building strength through that right wrist. We stay there for 1 breath. Exhale, that left hand comes back down, we switch it over. Right hand reaches across the body, coming to the outside of that left leg. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale, we switch back. We're taking that 2 more times on each side, so 3 times in total. Left hand reaches across the body. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale, left hand comes back, really good. Inhale, right hand reaches across, finding that left leg. Exhale, we bring that right arm back, 1 more time on each side. Inhale, we bring the left arm across, find that right outer leg. Exhale, bring it back out. Really nice. Inhale, right hand reaches across, touching that left ankle or shin. And exhale, you bring that right hand back. You're going to sink the knees back down to the ground. Really good. Nice. Come back up to a seated position and pause there. Now, those twisted downward dogs might feel a little bit unusual to begin with, but the more that you get used to them and the more that you find yourself bearing weight through one hand instead of both, the easier they'll become and the longer you can hold them and the more you can do. So all of these stretches are absolutely brilliant for waking up, strengthening and stretching the wrists. If you feel like your wrists are particularly niggly, then you might find it useful to do some of these stretches before a yoga class, because it will help your hands to warm up and feel ready to take on the rest of your practice. I hope you've enjoyed these stretches and found them helpful. It's been wonderful to practice with you as always. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.